is now April 15th, 2019, and this is a quick video to show off the plants and the gardening efforts. Look at all these seedlings. Some we planted back in May. There's some basil and some mint. Here's some cabbage and pak choi. We got some of that planted out in the garden too. And some flowers. And I forgot what those are called. Marigolds. And then here, let me try to get the sun glare out. Here is my tomatoes and peppers, eggplant. Look how big these guys are. Planted these from seed. These are the purple Cherokee tomatoes. By the way, I'm trying to go all organic this year, so I'm using neem oil as my insecticide. Neem oil and a little soap. So far it's been pretty good against aphids. We'll see how they do against the others. Alright, so let's continue on. Here's the little washing station. Get the vegetables washed up and processed here. And now let's go into the garden. There's the tulips. They came up nice this year. Planted those last fall. And look at these strawberries. I planted about 25 or so strawberries that actually took off. And now I have 1,000. I have no idea. This is a cold hardy kiwi. Hopefully get to try some fruit off her this year. And some more grapes growing there. If you didn't catch that, this is our grapevine. Onions and garlic I planted last fall. Have been holding strong. Here in some of our bare ground, I mixed in some compost and planted a bunch of peas. And over here, the same thing, except we added a layer of mulch on top and planted potatoes. So you can see all the potatoes we have there. So the big difference this year is that I've been growing seedlings in the greenhouse. The greenhouse is a new addition. And then after preparing my soil, planting the seedlings. The idea is that since they have a head start on their growth, they'll grow up a little bit bigger, and then weed management will be easier because they sort of overshade them. Plus, if I'm using a hoe to get some weeds out, it's easier to work around bigger, already established plants. And there's the greenhouse. That's an 8 by 10 greenhouse covered with UV plastic. And then back behind there, I just have a new bed. Actually, what I did differently here is instead of tilling and preparing the soil, I left it as is, and this soil I just covered with compost. So we'll see how these seedlings fare. I just transplanted these last night. A bunch of cruciferous vegetables here, as well as some basil, some beets. There's the basil, and some marigolds on each end. They're supposed to be good at repelling pests, so we'll see. Here's our pot of mint doing nicely. And here's a raised bed I've prepared with compost again. And I'm just trying to grow herbs in these two raised beds. These two are just dedicated to herbs. So right here we have some dill, which didn't really take off well this year, but I had 2 plants that were barely plantable. So let's hope these little guys do all right. And another row of basil. That's the sweet basil. And this is a row of cilantro. I was not able to grow any cilantro last year, so we'll see how this year does. And here in this row is parsley. So the rest, I think I might still have some remnants of mint I tried to pull all the roots out, but you know, there's always some that gets away. So I might have some mint in the corner this year, but once again I will dig up the bed and try to pull out the mint. Here is oregano, and that is a perennial. As far as I know, it overwintered and it's been doing just fine this spring. And then here is some sage. So it appears that over the winter the sage plant that grew died, and that wood is dead. But what grew from the base, now I don't know if this is a volunteer, or if this is a volunteer sage, or did this just go dormant and come back. It's so close that I think that's probably what happened. It did go dormant. Little onion I just left in the corner there. It just looks so nice. Now I did till up this area just to get it going, and I don't know if you can see this, but there are a ton of sunflowers that came from my sunflowers last year, and I'm just gonna go ahead and let those sprout until I need that area. Here's the blueberry bushes. Let me get on this side. Look at that asparagus. This is a whole asparagus patch. I originally planted about 10, and I messed up planting them. I planted them upside down and buried them the wrong way. Any wrong way you could do it, but some of these guys grew back big. And I went ahead and replanted here with 50 asparagus, planted them the right way, so wish me luck on that. This beauty here is a blackberry, all trellised up. I can tell that this plant is going to get away from me if I don't keep an eye on it. So we'll see how long I can keep up with it until it starts annoying me too much. And then here are the raspberries, and I'm starting to trellis those up as well. And my trellis is just a thing of wire strung between two T-posts, and it does flex in the middle, and it does get a little heavy. I'm trying to do this with one hand, y'all. There. That was ugly, but it got done. Anyways, I trellis those up, and I trellis these up with that wire too, just to show you all this. And no, it's probably not the best way to do it, but it's the way I did it, and we'll see how it works. And if I need to, the plan for the future is to use these cattle panels. These are these big wire structures here, and make arches and trellises with these. And I can hang them over those grapes if they start to grow too big. If it outgrows the trellis, I do have a plan B. And for the blackberries, I transplanted them out into the yard. I think for a perennial, not too many animals like to munch on them, except for birds on the blackberries, but we have so many wild blackberries around here, there's enough to go around. As long as I can get the dogs to stay out of them. Well, that's it. That's our progress for the garden, and it's been a lot of work, but it's been a lot of fun, and we'll see what it turns into this summer. This is my second year really focusing on it, and I got some new ideas and surprises and new aesthetic things I'll be doing, and I'm sure I'll do an update here soon.